Hey, welcome to Have Your Best Week Ever. That's right, Have Your Best Week Ever as we get ready to get started here. We're streaming live. Let's get one thing going. Record. Boom. Hey, Have Your Best Week Ever. Welcome to Have Your Best Week Ever as we get ready to help you move into, gosh, first month is already gone. So, hey, if you're watching this live, guess what? January is really over. Hey, you got 4 more days into January. So, one of the things I want to challenge you to do is to truly get that plan in place, um, get it in place as we move forward in January, and get to working on that vision and hopefully complete that vision. Number one, number two, begin to execute that vision, and then number three, have your best week ever. So that's the game plan here tonight as we share a little bit about some things going on with us, as well as some exciting things that have happened that helped propelled us into this whole kind of tweak the title on you a little bit as you were watching the feed. Well, no, you didn't know behind the scenes, but my team knows. We kind of tweaked the title a little bit, hey, because this whole month was working on vision, and one of the key things that I wanted to really try to drive home is how do you implement your vision, because I think that's one of the key things we all struggle with is how do you live the vision that you have set for your life. How do you truly live the vision that you have for yourself? Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? Good to see you this evening. Welcome on board. I know you when you talk about vision, sometimes you have those big goals and you have that vision, and they just don't quite work out, and you're wondering, is it you? Well, no, not 100%, but we're going to talk a little bit about that because you got to be running toward them consistently, continuously, and consistently. That's the key thing that you have to do, and be willing to make some adjustments as you move forward. So, hey, I just wanted to to toss that out there as we get ready to get set. Tonight I'm going to teach a little bit more, and sometimes I just share what's on my mind to a degree. It's always thought through and thought out. But literally, the title of this topic, "The Pains of a Dynamic Vision," kind of came from a sermon I heard today at church, a second service I went to. Yeah, I went to church twice uh, today. So, but let me get over and get the screen share going, and we'll get going here as we move forward. Let's see, boom, and yeah. So as we talk about that dynamic, the pains of a dynamic vision, I think that's something that's very key. And so it came from a sermon. Reverend Byron Stevenson was preaching in town today. Byron is a friend. A friend. He married my wife and I. Was his Steno pledgee, so we go back a while. But one of the things he was talking about is people come through all the time. They're in church in pain, but one of the things as I sat there and I thought about it, a lot of times we have that dream, we have that vision in our lives, and we're in pain. That's right, we're in pain, and so I want to challenge you to begin to, how do you work through that? First get it down in writing, get that vision in writing, and then once you get it in writing, how do you move and implement that vision? Hey, Phil, good to see you, man. Long time no talk to. We've got to connect somewhere in this near future, in this next week or so. But as you talk about the pains of vision, I'm an acronym junkie. I guess you can call me that. And hey, I am who I am. Don't apologize for it. But that's what helps me. And hopefully, there's some folks out there that resonate with acronyms, and it helps them. So we're going to talk about that. But before we talk about the pains, I just want to pull up a tool that I began to really work on. It's called Your Purpose Org Chart. Um, and what that is just when you think about purpose, and I truly believe this here is that as you create your purpose, it leads to your vision. I'm not as you create it, as you understand your purpose, because you were created for a specific purpose. And once you understand that, then it helps you move forward to create a vision. And then that vision will lead to creating goals that are meant to um, help you move towards that vision. And so as you achieve those goals, you begin to move them, and those are reset. And one of the things that we like to do is the 91-day game plan, is really setting up your goals for the next quarter. What are you going to focus on this quarter that's going to lead you toward that vision? What are you going to look at doing this quarter that's going to help move you toward that vision. And so when you begin to think about a 91-day game plan, that's exactly what it is. What are you doing these next 91 days to move toward that vision? When I looked at mine, my coach, challenged me to plug it down. I mean, break it down, chunk it down, but actually spell it out at the same time. And so I laid it out for the year, and then now I had to go back in and break it down by the quarter and by the month and what happened, because it's not linear. It, because as you ramp up, the first quarter, those first 91 days may not be as much as the next 91 days. Shouldn't be, especially if you're starting some new ventures, because you got to create the momentum. You got to have that plan in place, and there are daily actions you have to do. And so that's one of the things I want to challenge you to begin to think about as we move forward and we discuss these pains of a dynamic vision. So let's get started here and jump right in. One of the things I think that when you begin with, and the P is that purpose propel, is a dynamic vision basically propels or pull your your purpose too forward, because you begin to live it. One of the things that, as I say, just a couple things happened to me in the last 24 hours that helped me realize that, hey, I am moving towards my purpose, and my vision is in alignment with that finally. And the teaching and the training I do here virtually, number one, that is it. Two, working with other folks. Literally last night I was at a party, and a lady I hadn't seen in probably 2 years, older. She said, Howard, hey, and I think she's a retired teacher actually. She said, hey, keep doing what you're doing. It's helping people. It actually helps me. And she never chimes in online, but she watches. And so I had about 3 situations of that happening this week. And then today someone said, hey, why don't you go ahead and get your MBA and get a master's? And so it's just interesting that whole space. But as I sat there today, the pain of not living your purpose, because then if you don't live your purpose, the vision you create is not truly in alignment. It has you out of harmony. That happened to me Friday. Literally, someone came in as a pastor, and we were and a principal, pastor and a principal. And so as we were talking about that, he was talking about that work-life balance, and I was saying, it's a challenge, and I truly believe it's a challenge for us to have work-life balance. But harmony is a better way of seeking that, and that's one of the things that we strive to when you're working and laying out your ideal week. Does it happen that way? No, but you have to plan it, and that leads us to the next P is, passionately planning. When you have that vision, it helps you passionately plan. You may be tired, but first thing is getting that plan on paper. That's right. Passionately planning on paper. That's what I should have said. The trifecta. Hey, passionately planning on paper. And better write a note. Let me just put that down, because if I don't go back and listen immediately, passionately planning on paper. And so on paper. And so that is what you want to do, because then you can physically share it with others. When I don't passionately plan on paper, guess what? Others may hear it and see it, but they're not able to read it and feel it. So that's what I want to challenge you to do, is passionately plan on paper. That's right, passionately plan on paper. And then that leads to an audacious attitude. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you begin to think about your vision and what excites you and where you're going forward to, is that literally it gives you an audacious attitude. People begin to look at you and say, hey, gosh, that guy crazy. Man, he's bold. Or, whatever, however you want to describe it, but that's what happens. And then you move and walk with that attitude. Hey, you move and walk with that attitude. You plan with that attitude. You show up with that attitude. It was a great thing this morning. One of the pastors at the church that I spoke, not in speak at, I was at, one of the, my purpose, as I always say, is helping others win and realize dreams. I believe that helping others win and realize dollars. That's who Howard is. That's what Howard does. But we were at church today, and the pastor said, he said, how many people show up in a room and just suck all the oxygen out of the room, but when they leave, life comes back. And so you want to have that audacious attitude in a positive way. You're not bragging, you're not, boasting, but when you're walking in purpose and you're living that dynamic vision, you're working through those pains of a dynamic vision. I think that's something that's very key. So now as we look at it, what does that do for us? I just want to share this document with you. This is my dynamic vision on paper. Yeah. So got some bold things that are happening. So the numbers are not, you can look at the numbers, that's fine, but that's for me. But the other side of it is I want, that planning on paper, as we talked about, passionately planning on paper and being able to go back and look at it. So now when I finish up this call on a Sunday night, I can pull out and begin my weekly planning. That's right, my weekly planning based on my 91-day goals, based on vision, which is about 3 years out, based on operating and living on purpose, based on those big dreams. So hopefully you see that is how it works. That is how it works. So one of the things I would challenge you to do, if you've written those goals out, and hey, feel free to share them with me. If you're watching this, even on the replay, feel free to inbox me with the challenge that you're having with your goals. Or just type one of your goals in the comment section and say, hey, big goal, I need a big plan. So big goal, I need a big plan. And then you can actually just share that with me. We'll be glad to set a time with you to go through it and hopefully help you. Not hopefully, we will be able to help you move forward on it. Process we use called the 2x4. It makes a difference. That's right. The 2x4 makes a huge difference when we're driving forward with that. The other thing is the I is it gives you instant inspiration. See, when you get up each day and you look at this and you have that schedule in front of you and you have that dynamic vision in front of you written out, and then those specific goals that you're going to attack each week and the steps that are going to make it happen, it gives you instant inspiration. When you get that no on that phone call, it gives you instant inspiration. And when you hit that roadblock or that technical snag, it gives you instant inspiration. When you hit that go button and nobody shows up, it gives you instant inspiration because you're doing what you were called to do. You're doing what you were supposed to do. And that is what it does for you. So I want to challenge you to really, really think about that piece of it. And then it helps you identify the necessary next. That's right. The necessary next. We're keeping in alignment with the end, the acronym of PAIN, but it gives you the necessary next. So now you know what you need to do next and next and next and next, the necessary next to live it. It's kind of like, if you were going up a mountain and you had a path you were following, the next step is the next step. Yeah, the next step is the next step. And that's the way it is once you lay out that plan, climbing that mountain. One of my cohorts, or gentleman I know, he talks about the Success Mountain, climbing Success Mountain. And the path is the path. The path is the path, and the next step is the next step. And so in our lives, and in order to implement that vision, we have the necessary next. But it's a pain sometimes. How do you make yourself do it? The phrase I like to use is do what you know and not what you feel. But it's not that easy sometimes. There's some small things that you can do to help make that. One of them is that 5-second rule. Give you 5 seconds to jump in action and propel in action. That's number one. Number two is we make the to-do list, but also create the don't do list. What are the things that you're not going to do? One of the things that I got to get back into alignment with when I look back at, and I showed you this sheet here. If you go back in and look, I have rules that I want to live by each day. And when I started looking at my weeks here, I realized I was violating a lot of my rules. Yeah, it's 10 rules. And it means, hey, what time I go to bed, what time I wake up for, um, how much reading I do, how much writing I do a day. Just certain rules that will fall in. How many power notes a week? Way off on that one. So, hey, Howard White is getting back on those because if I do those daily disciplines, those daily rules, they become rituals. And so it points to the necessary next. That's the key thing, the necessary next. So I want to challenge you to think about that. And then the last thing is that S, significant substance. You're working on the significant things. See, we talked about the necessary next. Those are things that you got to do. But then as you are going through these pains, you're continuously looking at the significant substance. You're looking at the things that will really drive you forward or pull you forward. See, that's one of the key things of understanding your purpose because you got to have it and understand that why so it will pull you forward. That's the significant substance. That is what helps you keep going when things are slow. That's what helps you keep going when things are rough, when you can't quite see over that next peak. You can't see past that next wall, that next roadblock. That's when the significant substance kicks in. That's when you have to continually press forward. So I want to challenge you to think about those pains. I shared several things with you as we move forward, but just go back through and think about the pains of a dynamic vision. That's right, the pains of a dynamic vision. And do you have that vision in writing is the key thing. And so when you look at it, once again, understanding your purpose, creating your vision, and then driving those goals. And for every goal, have a plan in place. How are you going to make it happen? What do you have to do daily? What do you have to do weekly? What are the priorities with that? So one of the things that we do, I mean, it's exciting. I'm about to kick it off. It's kicking off this week and um, really full speed as we move into February. Is a 91-day game plan. So we're going to be working with people to help them 4X their year. That's right, 4X their year. I mean, you take 91, multiply by 4, that gives you a full year. So just imagine this time next year, you would have gotten 4 times as much done as you would have done without a plan in place. That's right, without a plan in place. So that's what the 91-day game plan is. So simply go over to 91daygameplan.com, 91daygameplan.com. Join the conversation, sign up for it. Very affordable. But more importantly, you're going to invest in yourself because one of the things that happens right now, I can guarantee you, whether you invest or not, you're going to pay a price. That's right. Whether you invest or not, you're going to pay a price. And so the price of not doing something different to get where you want to get to will cost you. How much? I don't know. It varies from person to person, but I know it will cost you. So I challenge you to think about that. But more importantly, think about those great things that you want to get done this year and who's on your plan to help you, who you're looking to get your help from. So there we go. So as we get ready to close out, I want to challenge you again to think about those pains. What are the pains that you're experiencing on moving forward? What are the pains you're experiencing in growing toward your business goals, your life goals, your fitness goals, and you fill in the blank. So I challenge you to think about that, and then begin to truly, truly put a plan in place. As we said, passionately plan. That's right. I mean, you just got to get at it and plan it and then go out and implement it with that audacious attitude. That's right. Audacious attitude. But then focus on the significant substance. That's what you want to do is focus on the significant substance. And then that helps relieve the pains actually. That helps relieve. So I basically gave you some aspirins for the pain, but gave you a process to walk through implementing your vision and making it dynamic and making it happen in getting those results. Hey, with that said, hey, I want to challenge you to go out and have your best week ever. Before we do that, I want to remind you to just go over the 91-day game plan. If you got questions about it, simply inbox me and say, hey, Howard, interested in 91-day game plan, but I have some questions. You can inbox me. I will be working, following up. We have a couple meetings tomorrow around that. Hey, but our first session is Tuesday night. That's right, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on the 28th. Kind of a pre-session, and then we really jump into the we jumping into the meat and potatoes on the first night, but it's ongoing each week, and we'll share a little bit more about it tomorrow morning. But challenge you to go over and be part of that conversation. And with that said, hey, it's time for me to get off and time for me to go plan my week, because guess what? If you don't plan your week, someone else will give you a week plan, and definitely don't want that to happen. With that said, I challenge you to go out and be the best you possible, because guess what? Everybody else is taken. If you try to be anybody else, you can only be second best. And if you're second best, the view does not change. Hey, take care. God bless. And I shall see you in the morning. That's right, in the morning. Got a surprise for you, and we'll take it from there. Hey, God bless, and see you then. Bye bye.